Hello, and welcome back to Earth History for Bedtime. Before we begin our journey into the Late Triassic, I invite you to slowly settle into your space. Take a moment to adjust your pillows, pull up your covers, and allow your body to sink into a position that feels completely effortless. Let your hands rest comfortably. Let your jaw unclench just slightly, and gently close your eyes if you'd like. Now, take a slow, deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your shoulders soften and fall. Take another breath in slowly and out even slower. Allow the tension of the modern world to begin drifting away, not all at once, but gradually, like something dissolving into the distance. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to think about, and nowhere else you need to be. This moment is yours. Let your breathing settle into a natural rhythm, slow, steady, calm, even. With each breath out, feel yourself sinking just a little deeper into comfort. The surface beneath you feels softer now, more supportive, almost as if it is gently holding you. The sounds of your day begin to fade. Conversations, responsibilities, small worries, all drifting further away, and in their place, there is space, quiet, stillness. We are leaving the present now, slowly, gently, drifting backward through time, millions and millions of years, far beyond memory, far beyond history, to a world that was only just beginning to find its rhythm, a world without cities, without roads, without engines, no distant traffic, no glowing screens, no voices calling out, only wind, stone, and time. As the air around you grows heavier and the light begins to dim, the present moment softens and fades. The edges of your thoughts become less defined, less urgent, and your awareness begins to drift backward, farther and farther, until you arrive at the edge of something ancient, something quiet, something untouched. You step forward without effort and enter the deep past. Let's begin. Imagine now a world unlike the one you know, a single vast landmass stretching endlessly in every direction. This is Pangaea, immense, ancient, unified. There are no oceans separating continents, no familiar coastlines, only one continuous expanse of land, stone, and sky. You stand within its interior, far from any shoreline. Here, the world feels open, endless. The horizon stretches so far, it almost seems to curve away beneath your feet. The ground is dry, cracked, and hardened, a deep rust-red color, baked beneath an unrelenting sun. The heat lingers in the air, steady, unmoving. There is no breeze, no shifting wind, only stillness, the kind of stillness that feels complete, as if time itself has slowed for months, perhaps even years. No rain has fallen here. The land waits, not impatiently, but quietly, suspended in a kind of silent anticipation. The air feels heavy, almost as if the world itself is holding its breath. Nothing moves, nothing changes, only the sun hanging high above and the slow passage of time. Then, far in the distance, something shifts, a low, rolling sound, so faint it could almost be imagined Thunder, soft at first, barely noticeable, but real and growing. It travels slowly across the open sky, echoing across the vast land. Clouds begin to gather, at first thin and scattered, then thicker, darker, drifting together in slow, deliberate motion. The light begins to change, softening, dimming. Shadows stretch across the desert floor. The air shifts, carrying something new, something cool, something alive. And then, at last, rain. The first drops fall gently, almost unnoticed at first. A soft tapping against the dry earth, light and irregular. Then another follows, and another, until the scattered sounds begin to form a steady rhythm. The rain becomes consistent, filling the silence with a calm and continuous presence. The ground begins to darken as the water spreads across its surface, soaking into the cracks that have waited so long to receive it. The scent of the earth begins to change, shifting from dry and dusty to something richer, deeper, alive. As the rain continues, the land begins to awaken. Water seeps down through the layers of soil, reaching places that have been untouched for years. Minerals begin to dissolve and move, carried slowly through the ground. The surface softens, losing its rigid, brittle texture. Small depressions fill with water, forming shallow pools that reflect the dim sky above. The sound of the rain remains steady, calming, almost rhythmic, like a quiet pulse that moves across the landscape. Beneath the surface, something begins to stir. Seeds that have remained dormant begin to respond to the moisture. They swell slightly, absorbing the water, beginning a slow and patient process of growth. At first, nothing is visible from above. The transformation is hidden, taking place quietly beneath the ground. But over time, small signs begin to appear. Tiny green shoots break through the surface, delicate and thin, pushing upward with quiet persistence. They are fragile yet determined, responding to conditions that have finally become right. More follow, spreading gradually across the land. The once barren surface begins to shift in colour, the deep red of the soil now interrupted by patches of soft green. The rain continues for a long time, not in violent bursts, but in a steady and gentle fall. It nourishes the land without overwhelming it, allowing life to take hold at its own pace. Ferns begin to unfurl slowly, their leaves curling outward in smooth, deliberate motions. Low plants spread outward, covering the ground in a thin but growing layer of vegetation. The air begins to feel different now, cooler, more balanced. The harsh intensity of the sun has softened, filtered through lingering clouds. The stillness of before is replaced by a new kind of quiet, one filled with subtle movement and gradual change. As time passes, the rain becomes less frequent. The clouds begin to break apart, allowing light to return more fully to the land. But the world has changed. What was once dry and lifeless now holds moisture and growth. The transformation is not complete, but it has begun. The green continues to spread, slowly but steadily. Plants grow taller, stronger, more established. Their roots reach deeper into the soil, anchoring them firmly while drawing in nutrients carried by the water. The land is no longer waiting. It is active, alive, developing in quiet stages. You move forward through this changing landscape, each step soft against the newly formed ground. The silence remains, but it is no longer empty. It is filled with a subtle presence of life, growing and expanding in every direction. In the distance, shapes begin to form. At first, they appear as faint outlines against the horizon. As you continue, they become clearer. The beginnings of a forest rise slowly from the land, their forms emerging gradually as the vegetation thickens. Tall, straight trunks reach upward, spaced apart but connected by the growth beneath them. These early trees stand quietly, their presence steady and grounded. Their branches extend outward, supporting clusters of leaves that catch the light and sway gently in the faintest movement of air. The ground beneath them is shaded now, protected from the full intensity of the sun. Ferns and smaller plants thrive in this environment, spreading across the forest floor in dense layers. The air feels cooler here, more comfortable, carrying a faint scent of damp earth and vegetation. The forest is not loud or busy. It moves slowly, almost imperceptibly. Growth happens over long stretches of time, each change subtle and gradual. Leaves absorb sunlight, water travels upward through trunks, and roots extend deeper into the soil. Everything is connected, part of a system that functions without urgency. You pause for a moment within this space, surrounded by towering forms that have grown from what was once empty land. The transformation feels complete in this moment, though it is still ongoing. The forest breathes in its own quiet way, steady and continuous. As you stand there, the sense of time begins to shift again. The slow passage of moments blends together, creating a feeling of stillness that is deeper than before. The world is no longer waiting or beginning. It is established, balanced, calm. And within that calm, something new begins to emerge. The forest remains still, yet not empty. Beneath the quiet there is movement, subtle and continuous. The ground, now softened by time and moisture, holds the imprint of life beginning to move across it. You continue forward slowly, each step gentle, as if the world itself encourages you to move without disturbance. The trees grow more numerous as you move deeper. Their trunks rise tall and straight, spaced in a way that feels natural, unplanned, yet balanced. Light filters through their branches in soft patterns, shifting slowly as time passes. The air here carries a steady coolness, and each breath feels calm and unhurried. As you walk, you begin to notice small details. The faint rustle of leaves brushing against one another, the soft compression of soil beneath your feet, the almost imperceptible movement of plant life adjusting to light and space. Nothing moves quickly. Everything exists within a slower rhythm, one that stretches beyond a single moment. Eventually, you come to a clearing. It opens quietly before you, a break in the density of the forest. The ground here is more open, covered in low vegetation, with scattered patches of bare earth. Light reaches the surface more fully, warming the space gently. You pause at the edge, observing. The clearing feels calm but not empty. There is a sense that something passes through here, something that belongs to this place. For a while, nothing changes. The stillness remains, steady and complete. Then, faintly, there is movement. At first, it is difficult to see. A slight shift in the distance, almost blending into the landscape. But as your eyes adjust, shapes begin to form. Small figures move along the edge of the clearing, their forms slender and balanced. They step forward slowly, emerging from the cover of the trees. These are early dinosaurs, Coelophysis, moving with quiet precision. Their bodies are light, built for movement, with long tails extending behind them for balance. Their steps are careful and deliberate, each one placed with awareness. They move together, not in haste, but in coordination. A small group weaving gently through the space, their presence calm and controlled. There is no sudden motion, no sharp sound, only quiet movement, synchronized and steady. One pauses, lifting its head slightly, observing the surroundings. It remains still for a moment, listening in a way that is not loud or obvious, but deeply attentive. Then, without urgency, it lowers itself and continues forward. The group spreads slightly as they move, maintaining distance while remaining connected. Their awareness of one another is constant, though unspoken. They do not need noise to communicate. Their movements themselves are enough. You remain still, watching as they pass through the clearing. They do not notice you, or if they do not react. You are simply part of the environment, another quiet presence in a world that does not rush. As they move farther away, their forms begin to blend again into the forest. The space returns to stillness, as if nothing had passed through at all. Time continues. The light begins to shift, once more slowly changing as the day progresses. The warmth softens, and the shadows begin to stretch. The forest transitions gently, without sharp contrast, moving toward evening. You step forward again, leaving the clearing behind. The trees thin slightly, and the land begins to open. The air feels cooler now, carrying a quiet sense of transition. Eventually, you arrive at a wide open space. The ground is flat, stretching outward, framed by distant formations of rock and rising land. This place is quiet and expansive, holding a different kind of stillness. The sun lowers gradually, its light becoming softer, more diffuse. The colors of the land begin to shift from warm tones into deeper shades. The sky changes slowly, almost imperceptibly, moving toward night. You settle into this space, allowing yourself to rest. There is no need to move further. The world around you continues its slow progression without effort. The light fades gently, and the first signs of night begin to appear. The sky darkens gradually, revealing the first faint stars. One appears, then another, scattered across the growing darkness. The air cools further, becoming calm and steady. As the night deepens, more stars fill the sky, forming patterns that feel unfamiliar, yet peaceful. These constellations are not the ones you know. They belong to a different time, shaped by the slow movement of the Earth over millions of years. The sky feels vast, beyond measure, stretching endlessly above you. The Milky Way becomes visible, a soft band of light crossing the darkness, steady and unchanging. The land is quiet now, completely still. Any movement that remains is distant, subtle, barely noticeable. The world has settled into rest. You breathe slowly, matching the calm around you. Each breath feels deeper, more relaxed, more effortless.